Hello, students. Let's work this problem together. Mrs. Steele randomly selected the scores of 40 students from the Reading Star and formed two groups. The following table shows the scores. If each group has 120 students, which of the following predictions is valid? Okay, so once and again in our question, if each group has 120 students, which of the following predictions is valid? So valid means we are looking for something that is true. Okay, so we have highlighted important information. We want to make sure that we looked and boxed in our question. And now we're going to elaborate. So notice that we have a double bar graph. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and label each bar with the correct number so that's easy to access. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and just put the totals for group A. So if I count all the green ones, 2, 4, plus 4 is 8, and 10 is 18, and then 2 more is 20. So we have 20 students in group A, and then for group B, we have 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8, and then plus 8 more is 16, and then the last 4, that's also 20. So let's look at group A. In group A, we have 20 students. And each group is going to have 120 students. So whatever number we have out of 20 students, so let's say we were going to do the first one, critical. That number would be 2 out of 20. So we would say, well, how much would that be out of 120? So whatever number we have in the graph or in the bar out of 20, we would have to look at the relationship or the factor. If we're going to have 120 in each group, we're going to have 6 times as many students. So 2 would be 6 times as many students. So here for 2, we could go ahead and say that's going to be 12. And so each one of these bars is going to be multiplied by 6 or a factor of 6 so that we can predict how many of that amount would be in a group of 120 students. Okay, so again, this group, each group has only 20 students. And the groups that she wants to make is going to have 120 students, which is a group that is 6 times bigger. So it should have 6 times the amount that is shown in this graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a section here where I'm going to transfer that information. And so I'm going to use, for critical, 2 times 6. I'm going to multiply each of these by 6, just like I did here. So 2 times 6 is 12. And then 4 times 6 is 24. So those would be corresponding to those. And then for the next group, the ones that did not meet, 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, so for the next group, we have the approaches, and that would be 4 times 6 is 24, and 2 times 6 is 12. And then we're going to have the meets, and that is going to be 10 times 6 is 60, and 8 times 6 is 48. And the last group, 2 times 6 is 12, and 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, so does everybody see what I did? I just made one proportion, but I figured out that the factor is 6, so I used that factor for each single bar. If I'm going to have a group of 120, that is 6 times the amount that is shown in this bar graph. So I just made a number for each bar graph if we have 120 students, which is what they're telling us for the prediction. Okay, so now we're ready to answer questions. We're going to use the numbers up at the top. Okay, so now let's look at our statements. Letter A says there will be 2 more students in group A obtaining meets than in group B. So we're looking at meets. So in meets, for group A, we have 60. And in group B, we have 48. I'm using the information from here, okay? Because that is the meets when we have 120 students in our prediction. So we're going to look at that comparison statement. There will be 2 more students. Does 60 look like it's only 2 more than 48? No, that is false. And since we're looking for something that is true, A is out. So let's go ahead and look at the second statement. In both groups, 96 students will obtain the level of approaches, meets, or masters. So we have approaches, meets, and masters we left clear. So that would be in the first group. So let's go ahead and add those up over here. So in group A, we have 60. Let's go to approaches first. Approaches, 24. Meets, 60. And masters, that was 12. That would give us a total of 96 for group A. So this is group A. Now let's do group B. In group B, we had approaches. We will have 12 in our prediction. For meets, we will have 48 in our prediction. And for masters, we will have 24 for our prediction. So if we add those, that is only 84. So both groups, 96 will obtain. Approaches, meets, or masters? No, only in group A. In group B, we would only have 84. So this is false. So now let's look at statement C. There will be 12 more students at the critical level in group B than in group A. So critical, that was our yellow highlighted section right here. So let's look at group B in critical. Group B in critical is 24. Group A in critical is 12. So let's look at the comparison statement. 12 more students. Is 24 12 more than 12? Well, let's see. 24 is 12 more than 12. That would be 12 plus 12 is 24, which equals what we had in group B. So this is true. Looks like we found our answer, but let's check our last one just to be sure. There will be 10 less students in group B obtaining masters. So masters we left clear with no highlighted color. So let's go ahead and that's the last 2 bars here. So for group B, that one, masters was 24. And in group A, masters, that was 12. So now we're going to see, is 24 10 less than 12? First of all, we can just say, is 24 less than 12? And that's not true. So it's definitely not going to be 10 less than 12. So D is out. And so the correct answer is C. There will be 12 more students at critical level in Group B than in Group A. The correct answer is C.